Hello and welcome to the Congo Hour. We want to thank you for watching. My name is Trippy Congo. Tonight I'm joined with my dad, Sammy. I want to thank him for coming in and filling in for Wayna, who has the evening off. Appreciate you, buddy.
Always here for you.
All right, so I guess we'll have Sammy's Corner throughout the whole show.
The whole show.
You'll share some of your knowledge with us throughout the whole hour tonight, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Towards the end of the show, we're going to have our community news. We have some birthday shout-outs. We have our funeral announcements. Our second interview will be with a young man named Kasai. He's coming back. He was here a few weeks ago to talk about his fatherhood initiative. He's coming back with his mom, Tamara. They're going to talk about how his event went and what he plans on doing in the future. And I'm going to ask them to stay on a little bit longer just to talk about some community issues. So I haven't, this is their first time hearing about it, so hopefully they'll stay and just talk to us and we can have some dialogue about what's going on in the community. And I want Kasai to be a part of that conversation so we can get a younger person's perspective also.
Sounds good.
But first we have two people here from Legal Shield, and they're coming on to talk about their company. All right, welcome to the show.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. You want to introduce yourselves?
My name is Robin Johnson.
Okay.
I'm from Newcastle, Delaware.
All right.
My name is Ted Wright. I live in Bowie, Maryland now, but used to live in Dover.
Okay. So tell us about Legal Shield.
Well, Legal Shield is a company, a 42-year-old company that actually provides legal and identity theft services for regular folks, everyday folks that go to work, they earn an average wage. So you don't have to pay the $200-300 customary hourly rates for an attorney.
How does it work?
Okay, it works. It's a membership-based service, and you basically pay a monthly fee. It covers your entire family and allows you to have access to attorneys nationwide to be able to assist you and your family with whatever needs that may pop up in the legal nature for your family.
Okay. So you pay a monthly fee, and it covers no matter how many people in your family. When you say family, what relationships?
Okay, the family is generally the husband and wife.
Okay.
We do domestic partnerships as well.
Okay.
Also, it covers all the children to their 26th birthday that live in your home.
Okay.
And even when they're away at college full time, they're able to be covered as well.
Okay. And you said on like lawyer services. What type? Any type of lawyer services?
Any service that you need. You get unlimited consultation. You get letters and phone calls written on your behalf to take care of small or trivial problems. Also contract and document review. So before you sign anything, buying the car, buying the home, those big purchases, or even the small things. It's great to have your attorney look over it like they would for LeBron James and Oprah and all those types of folks as well. And then one of the things that's really dear to my heart is that you work in the funeral industry, and you obviously can understand this. Most 90% of the folks don't have a will. And the only reason that most people don't, they know they're going to die. They just don't know when. And the unfortunate part is that the average cost is $500 to $1,000, and most people just never put it in the budget. But one of the great things about Legal Shield, we provide a will. You can get a will done for you and your spouse, healthcare advance directives, power of attorney, all that done, and no additional cost other than the membership.
Oh, wow. Okay. So as soon as you start your membership, does it take a while for the
Benefits to kick in?
benefits to kick in?
No, actually the services are immediate.
Okay.
As soon as you enroll, the next business day, you can actually call and use the services. And the great thing also that Legal should know that people come usually are reactive. So they're going to come with a problem already. And so we're even willing to take on people's pre-existing conditions that they can still come to the law firm with their problems, and we can still work with them under the membership and cover those things as well.
Okay. And you wanted to?
Yeah, I've been involved with Legal Shield for 14 years.
Okay.
And the reason why I got involved, like Mr. Wright was saying, because we help families. Families today, they can't afford $2,000 to $3,000 a month just to have an attorney on retainer. With our service, pennies a day, not just one attorney, but a whole law firm in every state and 4 provinces in Canada. And like I said, it covers, your spouse, your children up to the age of 26, even if they're in college.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Are they they're local attorneys, or how does that work?
It's set up as like an HMO. It's based on where you live. There's a provider firm in every state. Now you still get access to the network of attorneys, but you have a provider firm. And the provider firm here in Delaware is Madam and Wine Roth and Miller, and they're based right up here by Christiana, by Christiana Mall, not too far from there.
So for the membership fees, Is it just a like a standard fee for everyone, or is it based on anything? How does it work for the
Well,
fees?
the basic membership, which covers everything I just pretty much went over, is $19.95 a month. And we do have some supplement services. Like there are people that have businesses that might have a home-based business. These things the plan covers just your personal, but you can add on for $9.95. You can get a home-based business rider if you had a business outside of your W-2 income. So basically for $29.90, your entire family is covered, and your business life as well, as far as your legal needs are concerned.
What's the limits to this?
The limits?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, everything that I'm going to, all your consultation is unlimited. There is no cap on that. All letters and phone calls written on your behalf, no cap to that. Contracts and documents, no matter how many you send them, there's no cap to that. The will is absolutely complimentary, but they update it and revise it for you every year if necessary.
Okay.
They're going to give you coverage for motor vehicle situations. So if you get a ticket anywhere in the country or in Canada, you now call your law firm in your state, they send an attorney in that other state to go to court for you while you go to work. So those things are actually included. To include, if you're sued, you get 60 hours of trial defense time already prepaid for as part of the plan.
Okay.
And in addition to that, cover audit services as well. So if you get audited, you get 50 hours of tax attorney time on that. But anything that falls outside of those areas, we're talking about DUI, criminal charges, bankruptcy, foreclosure, things like that, you always get a 25% preferred member discount.
Okay.
So you always gonna never have to pay full price again. And the greatest thing, the thing I like about what Legal Shield did was they were able to aggregate attorneys and basically pay them. We basically pay a third of your membership fee is paid to the law firm in your state. Now, like where I live in Maryland, we have about 50,000 people that monthly voluntarily subscribe every month.
Okay.
So let's say the average membership is $30. That law firm is getting somewhere in close to $500,000 a month. Whether one person calls or 1,500 people, it doesn't matter. So they're motivated to help you. They don't look at you as a $30 client.
Right.
They look at you as part of the $500,000 client that's paying that every month. And so they're motivated to help you. Why? Because as the customer base grows, so does their income.
Right.
And so it's a wonderful marriage made in heaven to me.
So if someone wants to sign up, what do they need to do?
Okay, you actually have to go through a representative like myself or either Robin, and you can go to a website, and it's actually enroll for the membership right there to give you the provider law firm's number in your state, and you just pay by credit card. It's on a month-to-month basis. There is no long-term contract, so that simply means that you can get the services when you don't want them anymore. They're not going to hold you hostage for a contract for a year or 2 years. So we just believe that the services are that impressive and that robust that the average person would never let their membership go because something would always happen at some point in time.
All right. You have any other questions, Dave?
No, that sounds like a great service. And most people need it, you know, in the funeral home.
And
There's always
especially the young, families or single moms that are raising, sons by themselves with everything that's going on now with the communities. But also, Mr. Wright, didn't mention, he probably want me to
About identity
say
theft?
it. Yes, the identity theft. That's also part
okay.
of Legal Shield. We have the identity theft protection. And
So
Mr. Wright.
can you explain identity theft, please?
Identity theft. Well, as you know, that's the growing crime right now, and a lot of people think identity theft is just your finances, but there's 5 areas of identity theft. You have your credit, which is your finances. You have medical identity theft. You have criminal identity theft, Social Security identity theft, and driver's license identity theft.
All right. So how does Legal Shield help protect you from identity?
Great thing with that is that if you've ever, I'm not sure if everybody have ever heard of the company Kroll, K-R-O-L-L. Well, they're the #1 risk management company in the world. So they actually dealt with finding Saddam Hussein's financial network when the government couldn't do it. They got involved with Enron when they were to do the accounting for that. So Target called them when they had their breach with identity theft last Christmas.
Right.
So we actually have an exclusive relationship with them to offer our identity theft program that Kroll monitors and operates for us. The great thing is that monitoring is great, but the problem is when you become a victim, because there is no way to stop it, because your information is already out there. But the only thing you do is be alerted and then be able to respond to it. The average person doesn't know what to do when it happens to them. Well, you actually have a private investigator that will get involved and handle the process of restoration for you at no additional cost as part of the membership with the #1 company, Kroll.
Okay.
So we use the best of the best, and the same system works for them. So they get paid a portion of that amount every month to have them take care of our clients nationwide as well.
Okay. Any other points that you want to get across before we go to break?
Robin?
Oh, we also offer the plan to companies as employee benefit.
Yeah. So there are companies out there that are looking to offer additional benefits to their employees. The great thing is that it doesn't cost the employer anything.
Okay.
It's a voluntary benefit, but now their employees can have access to that. So that's great for them, because now when they have personal issues that come up on the job, not on the job, but they come to work with personal problems going on, they can basically make a phone call and get some peace of mind with those things right away.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. We have your number on the screen, 322-7808, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if anybody has any other questions, they can give you a call.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank
Absolutely.
you for coming out. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
you having
having
us.
You're welcome.
All right.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, and welcome back. We hope that you enjoyed that trailer. It's pretty deep.
Real deep.
Right.
Real deep, yeah.
So we want to welcome back to the show Kasai and his mother Tamara.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Hi, everyone.
Appreciate you guys for coming back. I
Great to
wanted
be back.
Get you back on just so we could talk some more about you and about what you're doing right now. So thank you for making some time.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
us.
So for those who may not have seen the last time you came on, just give us some background. I guess you introduce yourself and let people know who you are and what you're doing.
My name is Kasai Guthrie. I'm 17 years old. I go to Glasgow High School. I started a fatherhood awareness campaign called We Need Our Fathers. We Need Our Fathers encourages absent fathers to be active in their children's life. I do this by just talking to kids and fathers of what I went through and the types of stuff I went through with my father not being around, and how my father came back and it all turned around.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when did you start?
I started this September 2014.
Okay, so just last year. I thought it was longer than that for some reason. Okay. So how's it going so far?
It's going good. It picked up really fast. I'm starting to get a lot of invites to talk throughout the whole entire nation. So it's going really good.
All right. There's a group. I don't know the name of them. I can't remember, but they want me to come. They're hosting a Super Bowl. I don't know if it's a party, but a Super Bowl, I guess, game, watch. And they're encouraging fathers to bring their children, and they actually want me to be a speaker. I don't really like public speaking, but I want you to come with me if you're not.
I'll be glad to go.
Anything. Would you? Okay.
That's
You can take
awesome.
some of the weight off.
Thank you.
Yeah, take the weight off.
Seriously, I'm
awesome.
gonna give you the information. I'll forward it to you, and that way you can.
Okay, that'd be
you can
great.
Be there with me. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. You brought your mom again, so we appreciate you, Tamara, for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Yeah.
So, what has your experience been around Kasai and this movement?
You know what? When we first shot the video, and when we saw how emotional,
When was that? I'm sorry. I don't
that
know.
was probably in August. And
Okay.
shout out to Ivan Thomas, Blue Films. He's the one that produced it.
Okay.
And originally we shot it just as an intro. We just thought he was going to talk about his campaign. But in the moment of them shooting it, it became very emotional, and I realized that at that point that was his first time talking about it publicly.
Okay.
Prior to that, he had shared it with like a counselor. I had never heard some of the things that we caught on footage. The footage is very intense. And once it hit and we captured it, I was a little concerned as a mom, like how are other kids gonna take this? Are they gonna make fun of him? And the response has been the total opposite. Like kids are coming up to me in school, sharing, you know what, I didn't know, I'm having that same situation. So it's definitely an awesome tool, like a ministry that is opening doors.
definitely.
We've had people share it with grown men, and they cry, they call their kids. So, removing my place as a mom and being caught up in trying to protect him, I'm glad that he did it, and it's definitely changing people's lives.
Okay. If a father is watching, what would you, I guess, recommend his first step be? And they, if he has an estranged relationship with his children.
First, I would just tell him that it's not about money. It's about time. I would tell him to reach out his hand and spend time with his child, and get to know his child, because it's really funny. They will really find out how much they're just like him and the father and the child, and it's magnificent to see that a child could be just like a person that he doesn't even spend time with. So what I would probably just say is just to spend time. It could be the cliche things like the walk in the park or throwing the ball around, but yeah, just spending time.
Just take that first step.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. And Tamara, I guess coming from your perspective, a mother who has raised her child,
Right.
primarily alone, and a child or the child's father wants to, kind of reconnect
Right.
or connect for the first time. What would you suggest, like to the mothers out there?
Right, definitely what he is saying. I think sometimes women, we can kind of hold on to old feelings, and there's that bitterness, especially if it's hard raising kids alone.
Right.
So, and then the financial part can be a burden, but the financial part with them as being kids versus the financial weight long term when they become adults without men in their lives, that financial weight is going to be way stronger. So I try to tell people, don't get caught up in the money.
Right.
God will provide. Just get caught up in restoring the relationship and allowing that to happen. Because at the end of the day, like on paper, like that video showed, on paper, I did a great job as a mom. Started high school in 7th grade, started 3 companies by the time he was 14. On paper, he was great, but I could not do anything about that void in his heart that only his dad could fill. And I think that that's what's so powerful about his story is he's not out here doing crazy stuff. He's not a bad kid, getting locked up. On paper, he looked like a great kid. You would never know. But that's the magnitude of not having a father. And as women, we sometimes are led astray into thinking, oh, I'm being the mom and the dad. You're doing your best, and you are doing a good job, but you will never be able to raise a man.
Right.
So I would say to them, definitely be strategic and get them around other men that you can trust.
Okay.
Whether it's, a coach, or get them into sports. And even when they do that, allow that man that you're trusting to mentor your child to speak into their life, even when they do wrong. Because sometimes we'll go out there, we'll find mentors and be like, hey, I need help with my son. Then when the son does something and the person that you're trusting comes to correct him, don't do that to my son. Let them be both good and bad to your son. And daughters. I mean, it goes both ways. But those are some lessons that I've learned. And definitely it should not be about the money at all, because at the end of the day, you're going to spend so much more money long term without having that father there to give that correction and that guidance and support.
Okay. And Kasai, speaking from what you went through, speaking to children out there who may be going through what you went through, what would you say to them?
I would tell them to first talk to somebody about it, because that's what I was missing. I was holding so much feelings in that it basically made me depressed, and to the point where I was suicidal and I was acting out on anger. And that type of depression and anger caused me to lose a huge scholarship to the high school I was going to. So I would tell people to just talk about the feelings, almost. Find a friend, find a mother, talk to an aunt or grandma about the feelings and just let it out. And then go ahead and talk to your father about it.
Okay. Dad, you want to chime in?
Well, there's so many, I guess, tools. And I guess I come from a background very similar.
Yeah.
Except I was raised by my grandmother. And my grandfather was there, but he didn't play a value-based factor in my life.
Yeah.
He was an entrepreneur, but the standards that my grandmother made sure that we complied with, I think, kind of guided me through. And she was very strict about it.
Yeah.
She even taught me how to eat. You have to eat with a certain fork, you eat with and here's how you cut your food up, and here's how you have conversations at the table.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the basic fundamentals that get you started. She entered me into all the little Boy Scouts and all that's Club Scouts, and she was very involved in the community. And we had a little town down here in Newark. I'm a local dude. But she made sure that I had values and standards that would carry me through life. And she made us work hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have time to think. It was always a job, When the sun came up, she expected you up. When the sun went down, she expected you in the bed. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there were people who I saw fail as a result of not having the basic fundamentals of the values in the home. And I think the values in the home kind of take you through the community, through other towns and experiences, and makes you hungry to establish other kind of values that will, carry you through life. And so when I was a social worker for the YMCA, I was able to really make contact with homes that I would visit because of the basic rules that my grandmother had in place in my mind that I had so much confidence in, and I could share that with other people just like what you have. But I came from a very, could I say, matriarchic home where, I was guided by not a man but a woman who was very strong.
Strong woman, yep.
And I kind of see where you're coming from, because that strength that you get from your dad, or you needed from your dad, kind of carries you. And so, and I think so many people need some strength to draw from.
Yep.
And I still draw from that kind of stuff. And when I'm in the office or we're having meetings, I often share with my staff or people that I'm having conversations with, just like you, that I still draw from that basic information and those standards that my grandmother made sure that I sucked it up and chewed it up and made sure I didn't spit any, but made sure it stayed with me.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing.
Thank you.
I think also that our community needs that so much that it should, especially today, that you should have probably 50 locations in Wilmington and outside or wherever it's needed. And I think that where it can create and maybe ignite some values even with parents that you share that they don't even know they have and that they don't even know is very important to their children.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were, I guess during that trailer, there were some pretty alarming statistics that were on there around children who don't have their fathers in their lives and how it affects their education. And I think it was about 70 children with fathers in their lives are 70% more likely to do better in school, to graduate from school. So, yeah, there definitely needs to be more people just doing what you're doing, Kasai, and just kind of encouraging people to take that first step, whether it's the child, the father, so that connection can be there. And the reward, like Tamara was saying, is just way greater than monetary. I don't think you can put an amount on what that connection, what that relationship does.
Yeah.
Versus child support, because your mom brought up, a lot of times that can be the barrier or that can be the issue. If mothers or whoever the responsible party is just wants to base everything around the money, and that can it's going to do more hurt than harm long run.
A lot of young people handle it differently.
Yeah.
Some of them resort to crime because they can't express how they feel. I worked for Ferris School for Boys. Are you familiar with
Yes,
Ferris
I'm
School?
familiar.
Okay, I worked there for about 4 years, and I was a night guy, and all of us had our own little cottages that we had to manage, and so you got to really hear some of the young folk talk about some of their problems and how they lashed out. You know, they were there because they lashed out because they had problems they didn't know how to handle.
Yeah.
And so they knew they had done wrong, but they didn't know what was wrong. You know, it's like you got a pain, but you don't know whether it's your kidney, your liver, or what. They
That's
knew
what you went
something
through,
was
kinda,
wrong.
right? I mean, to cut you off, that's what Kasai kind of went through
Yeah,
too.
that's what I went through. I didn't know what these feelings were coming from until I really seen and got to the root of it, that, you know, all of my friends around me, I went to private school, so all my friends around me had a mother and a father in the household. And I would go to my games, their fathers would be there front and center clapping on. And I would just look, and I would just almost, you know, become instantly sad because I didn't have that type of support system at my game. I mean, I have my mom, but I didn't have my dad there. So once I got to the root of it, I started to, you know, keep the feelings inside and not really share it. But when I shared it, every time I shared, it's like a boulder coming off my shoulders almost, and that's how I get it out, by sharing.
What can people do to help with your doing? What you're doing?
People can do many of things. People can visit my GoFundMe and donate money. People can also find children or fathers that are going through the things that I was going through.
Okay.
It doesn't matter the age. People, men, females, can become mentors to the type of children that are just like me. So there's many different types of things that they can help with.
Right. And you mentioned that different people and organizations are reaching out to you to come and speak. So
Yes.
that's another thing that you'll do, right?
Yes, I need the types of organizations. They don't have the money for lodging and travel almost, so I sort of need the money to fund myself to travel to these types of events.
Okay.
You know, I didn't understand what was going on in my life.
Yeah.
And I was a kind of happy-go-lucky guy. You know, I was always comfortable with myself. I could play athletes. You know, I was a halfway athlete. I wasn't one of the good guys. But I shared that with someone one time who was a professional, and they explained to me, they used these terms that I often share with people today. This was many, many years ago. But it's called accepting the norm, but refuse to be defined by it.
Okay.
And that means that, oh, I messed up. I'm sorry. Accepting the norm means you realize, or people realize, there is a void.
Yeah.
As many times those voids create all kind of problems, but don't be defined by those problems. So what you do is you know, they'd say, then you reject that norm, you know, of what we call absence, like you're talking about the absence of, and then you have to create those factors that allow you to be free.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
and I think that is so beautiful that you have done that. Okay, and you did find your dad, but at the same time you were doing great things that allowed you to reject the norm.
Exactly.
And so that is just wonderful as far as I'm concerned. And I
Thank you.
think you ought to go on and on and on and share them with other people. We at our funeral home are so confident in what we do. Even with other funeral homes, we don't really see them as competition. We see that they are sharing with us the I guess a support system that families need at a real difficult time. So we wouldn't want to not, if any funeral director came up to me or Trippy or any of our guys, we wouldn't say, oh, we can't tell you. You know, we'd say, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And so I'm so proud to know that you have created something that is so necessary
Yep.
in our community today, because I am sure that 90% of the young people that can't handle the problems that they have resort to a method of problem solving
Yeah.
that society does not accept that well.
And Kasai, have you been able to forgive your father?
Yes, I have. I had to come to the senses of forgiving, not for him, but for myself, so that I can move on, and then we could rebuild the relationship.
Okay. What about you, Tamara? Were you able to forgive his dad?
Yes. What's interesting to know is the way that I was with his father, because like I said, how I think about the importance of a father is how I've always thought. And ever since my kids were little, I would always try to restore the relationship when things would go wrong. But as they get older, they can kind of pick up on things themselves. So I've never been in the way, always tried to restore, because I understand the importance of a father. So just watching how he has come full circle, I'm just really grateful, by the grace of God, that he was able to turn it all around, like you said, not end up being a statistic, showing out and doing things that can really have him in trouble. So.
Okay.
It's very important not to be defined by something that's negative, that's affecting you. You reject those systems. And it's tough. It's not something you can say, oh, right away, it doesn't bother me. That's not the answer.
Yeah.
The answer is that you have created a value system that allows you to understand it, and then maybe help him, and yourself, because it's very unusual that a guy as young as you are understands, forgives, and is practicing to help other people. It's very unusual, because some guys just sit back and say, I don't like him, I don't care about him.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's not the answer either, because everybody needs to be helped. And many times you don't know that he needs help too.
Exactly.
And so it's very fortunate that that you were able to see all that, and that you were able to see all that, and not use something that you don't understand as a wedge between happiness for everybody.
Right.
Yes, that's definitely an amazing story. Is your contact information on that GoFundMe?
Yes,
It is? Okay, so people can contact you if they want you to come and be a part of whatever they have going on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
I think that, I know this is impossible, but when I think the schools, you could open a little business as a consultant, that when many times schools aren't aware of the kind of problems that young people have. They're education-based.
Exactly.
Right.
And so if they could understand that it's beyond them, and they need to call you in to visit the home, and it's also a bridge between the young folk and the home.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, that's I think they understand it, but they don't have the resources. Like the schools don't have the resources to address it, and that's one of the things that definitely needs to be addressed. They do understand that a lot of the issues that the kids have, they come to school with, but the schools don't have the type of resources to help, and I think that's a concern of a lot of
I agree.
a lot of teachers and principals and just the community. Because the state definitely needs to step up to just to try to provide those resources and help kids kind of get past what they're going through, so they can teach them.
Exactly.
So that's a good point you just made that about Kasai could be one of those resources.
There's just so much
Yeah.
that we don't understand, and because we're just not paying enough attention to it. And it's so unfortunate that even schools try to handle things like that,
Yeah.
but they create more problems than they solve.
Yeah, they do.
Because they don't really understand. And most of us that don't understand something and try to deal with it, mess it up.
Mess it up.
And
Exactly.
so We had Councilman Jay Street last week, and I guess that's what I picked up from Jay, was that that the resources that's necessary in the new school problems aren't being funded.
Yeah.
So they're trying to handle schools like they did 40 years ago,
Right.
and they can't do it.
They can.
Now, some cultures, you can do that.
Yeah.
But the culture that most of us are dealing with today, because of all the things we didn't understand 40 years ago that were needed, created this problem that we're dealing with today. And so, and it wasn't us that created the problem.
Yeah.
It was those that put us in a situation that created the problem.
Right.
So, but we haven't, you know, it was very interesting. I know we're running out of time here, but it was very interesting that there were, they talked about the Second World War. I watched C-SPAN all the time.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how the the Americans who had just fought the war brought home our enemy, the Nazis, and put them in very prominent positions because they were engineers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But found out that a lot of those people that they brought back ended up being some enemies, and they did some very awful things to us. When we came back from the war, we couldn't even sit at a table that the Caucasians could sit. We couldn't sit in the buses. We couldn't eat at the counters. After we fought that war for America,
Exactly.
but that was never handled. You know, we had to have Dr. King to stand up and say it's time to recognize that you have not handled that problem. And so that kind of stuff is what created the kind of problems that we're confronted with today. I'm sorry I took your time.
No, that's fine. That was a lot of good information.
It was.
As always. All right, we appreciate it. You know what I want to do? I want to, hopefully this will work, but I want to try to reach out to a father who may be watching, or even maybe to a child or a mother that's watching, and there is a disconnect between the father and the child, and try to just help be that connection. I want them to try to contact you, or if they're not, they don't have access to the website, they can call me. Or I don't know if you want to give your number out, but if not, they can just give me a call. And I want to try to just maybe treat them to dinner.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can go, or I don't know if we even should go, but I don't know. I want to try to just help out a little bit and see if we can try to help be that connection.
Thank you.
So if somebody's watching, so you can go to that website. You can call. Want to call me?
Oh, no, they can call
They
me.
can call you? Okay.
302-588-5098.
588
5098.
5098. Call and just take that first step, saying that there is this connection. I guess it should be the father or the child, and it probably should be the father, right? I don't know. You tell me. Well, who should?
It could be both.
It could be both. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And just give us a call, and we'll treat you to dinner. If you want us to come, we'll come. But if not, if you just think you want to just to be that one-on-one time, and
Yeah, that is awesome.
okay. All right. So either go to the website that's on the screen, or give Kasai a call at 588-5098.
Yes.
Okay. All right. If you forget any of that information, you can always call us at the funeral home, and we'll help out and I'll let you know what happens, or let me know what happens if they call you.
I will.
Okay. Well, that way we can treat them to dinner. All right.
Very good.
You gonna treat them, or I gotta do it as always?
You have to do it.
That's what I figured. Okay. All right, that's what I figured. All right. Well, we definitely want to thank you again. Thank you both for coming on.
Thank you.
Such a powerful thing you're doing. How old are you again?
I'm 17.
17. When's your birthday? When are you gonna be an adult?
Well, next December's my birthday.
Okay. All right. So.
You just turned 17?
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. No, Definitely, I want to thank you just for being willing to share your story. And thank you too,
Yeah.
Mom. I
Thank
know
you
that's
for
hard.
having
Like you
us.
said, you just
Really means a
that
lot.
that motherly protective
Yeah.
instinct. I know it kicked in, and you want to protect him.
Right.
And you let him just kind of be out there, and now look what he's doing. So,
Yeah.
thank you too. All right, we're gonna take it. You guys want to say anything before we go to break?
You good?
No, I'm
You,
fine.
you okay?
I just
Tom?
want to say thank you to the community for receiving him.
Okay. All right.
He was a speaker at, a panelist at Raising Kings, and,
Okay.
and so I'm just glad that people are embracing him and his message and seeing it as, as something of value.
All right. All right. We're going to take a really quick break, and we'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, but first we have Mr. Pearlie Hubbard, age 74, who departed this life on January the 10th. His services were on Friday, and his burial was going to be tomorrow at the Delaware Veterans Cemetery at 10 a.m. Rashawn Moore, age 23, departed this life January the 11th. His services were on Friday, and his burial took place at the Gracelawn Memorial Park. Mr. James T. McCullen, age 76, departed this life January the 11th. His funeral services will be tomorrow at the Simpson United Methodist Church. His burial will be private at the Delaware Veterans Cemetery. His services will be tomorrow at 11 a.m., and there will be a family visitation from 10 to 11. Mr. Norman Boyce, age 98, departed this life January the 7th. His burial will take place on Tuesday at 11 a.m. at the Delaware Veterans Cemetery. Miss Willa Mae Cobb, age 81, departed this life January the 11th. Her funeral will be on Wednesday at 11 a.m. at the Spirit of Life Lutheran Church, 500 Concord Avenue in Wilmington. Viewing will be from 9 to 10:45 only, and her burial will be in the Silverbrook Cemetery. Mr. Kyrell Lewis, age 23, departed this life on January the 9th. His services will be on Friday at 11 a.m. at the Congo Funeral Home on 24th and Market Streets, and viewing will be from 9 to 10:45 only. Services for Mr. George A. Brooks, age 58, who departed this life on January the 10th, will be on Friday at 11 a.m. at the Congo Funeral Home on 2nd and Gray Avenue. Viewing will be from 9 to 11, and his burial will be private. On services for Miss Delana D. Russell, age 45, who departed this life on January the 11th, will be on Saturday at 11 at the Congo Funeral Home on 24th and Market Streets. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Will be on 24th and Market Street, and viewing will be from 10 to 11. Services for Mr. Terrence Earl, age 50, who departed this life on January the 10th, will be on Friday at 7 p.m. at the Congo Funeral Home on 2nd and Gray Avenue. Viewing will be from 5 to 6:45 only, and his burial will be private. Services for Miss Lisa Wilkins, age 54, who departed this life January the 7th, will be took place on last Friday at Impacting Your World Christian Center in Elkton, Maryland, and her burial was in the Gracelawn Memorial Park. And services will be private for Mr. Fred Mathis, who departed this life on January the 14th, and he was 86 years old. And services will also be announced for Mr. Fred Highland, age 82, who departed this life on January the 6th. And services will be announced for Mr. Hazard Snow, age 71, who departed this life on January the 7th. Our services will be announced for Mr. Stephen Body, age 69, who departed this life on January the 12th. And services will be announced for Miss Tammy Willis, age 54, who departed this life on January the 15th. Services will be announced for Mr. Robert Bailey, age 24, who departed this life on January the 14th. And services will be announced for Miss Maggie Pugh, age 77, who departed this life on January the 16th. Services will also be announced for Miss Evelyn Perkins, age 66, who departed this life on January the 17th. Miss Arona Cooper, age 67, who departed this life also on January the 17th. Her services will be announced. And services will be announced for Miss Barbara Henry, age 74, who departed this life on January the 17th. And services will be announced for Miss Elfrida Merchant, age 87, who departed this life on January on January the 11th. And Keisha, this is the last photo that we have. If we can go back to that last picture. This picture is of Mr. Isaiah Copeland. If we can show his picture, the last picture that's on the board, Keish. His services will be announced. Mr. Isaiah Copeland, Sr., age 91, who departed this life on January the 18th. We're going to show his picture. Okay. All right, and that does conclude all of our funeral announcements. If you ever want to be a part of the show, please call Wayna at 521-7325. And if you have any questions about our announcements, please go to our website at congofuneralhome.com or call us at 652-8887. I also want to give a happy birthday shout out to Miss Virginia Marks, who turned 98. Miss Virginia Marks, who turned 98 yesterday. She also celebrated her birthday with my son Max, who turned 14. But shout out to Miss Virginia Marks. That's from all of us, from the Congo family, and happy birthday. All right, take care, and God willing, we will see you next week.